The makers of Mars Forever Yours bar and all those other good Mars candy bars invite you through the creaking door for another thrilling inner sanctum mystery. Tonight, The Unforgiving Corpse, starring Louis Van Rooten.
Good evening, friends of the creaking door. This is your host to welcome you once again into the inner sanctum. Come in, come on in. Spooking of baseball, we've a team that you'll really lose your mind over. Our pitcher's a real sweetheart, razor sharp. His best pitch is a ghost ball. Swing at it and it disappears, along with the pitcher. Double-headers. Nobody's better equipped for them than we are. An odd sight, you know, watching 9 ball players with 18 heads. And kill the umpire? In our league, Bud, that's no idle threat.
Now into the inner sanctum for thrilling mystery. But first, this is Alan Z. Anthony. You know, certain things are very personally yours, things that make you the person you are. Your voice, your features, your manner. Yes, your particular tastes, too. For example, you may be one of those extra special individuals who strongly prefer dark chocolate. And that's why Mars puts their special candy-making magic to work to bring you that delicious Mars Forever Yours candy bar. For you who particularly prefer dark chocolate. Forever Yours makes the most of that dark chocolate by delightful flavor contrast, by wrapping it thick around creamy, whipped, pure vanilla nougat topped with golden caramel. Yes, the not-too-sweet taste of elegant dark chocolate in a refreshing flavor combination with the clean, bright taste of pure vanilla. That's Forever Yours. That's the candy bar particularly for you and made to be forever yours.
And now for tonight's quakes and shudders. Acted out in San Amado, a prairie town somewhere beyond the limits of reason. Hear them? Coyotes. It's a lullaby you sleep to in San Amado, if you can sleep. And here's another soothing sound in the night. An express train roaring by. It doesn't stop in San Amado except on signal. Prairie coyotes and screaming train whistles, night after night, every night. They can haunt you. That is, if you haunt like old Ben Sears. Sears is station master at the railroad whistle stop and very morbid about it.
When a man's head is bowed low with grief and guilt, he sometimes sees the devil rise before him. He sees the devil, and he gives him a face.
And what face do you give me, Ben says?
What?
I ask, what face do you give me?
Silver white, like the moon sits on your shoulders.
And my eyes?
Eyes cold. The sockets cold like a frost, like the touch of death.
Shall I touch you?
No!
Why so afraid, Ben says?
You and I are talking.
You think not? We've things to recall together, Ben says.
What things?
Things like your murder of me. Have you forgotten the old 1155?
No, it's a brand on my memory.
Then say my name.
Kirby Willis, engineer of the train.
The rail was split at Jericho Bend, but you did not signal for me to stop.
No. They found Kirby Willis in the hollow of Jericho Bend with his hand on the throttle.
I died when no man should.
When no man should, Kirby.
I had a girl promised to me.
Your Jenny.
My Jenny. Yes. You cost me more than life, that black night fence is.
What payment are you here to take from me?
Live through this week and see, old man. Live through this week and keep your eyes to the ground.
Keep my eyes to the ground. I'd be a haunted man. It was a promise made by the devil himself. I'd be a haunted man. Huh?
Pop, open up.
Oh, it was Fred, my stepson, bringing me a warming drink, like he did every night.
Well, why the locked door, Pop?
Against prowlers?
In Santa Mato? Oh, that's a joke. The only prowlers around here are four-legged. Coyotes. Now, coffee for you. I'll go home to bed now.
Fred, wait.
Huh?
I saw a man tonight. I saw Kirby Willis.
Kirby Willis. Who's he? Hey, wait, the name's familiar. Your mind's not slipping back into the dark. Not again.
It was Kirby. Stood before me in the station yard. He spoke to me.
And invited you out of your mind.
I murdered him, Kirby said. At a time when no man should die.
Ah, forget Kirby Willis and think of the miracle that happened. Only one life lost.
The rails were split. I didn't signal Kirby to stop.
Because you couldn't know about the busted rail. You were acquitted of negligence at the hearing.
I never acquitted myself.
Because you like living in the dark. 10 years now. Oh, telegraph message coming in if you're up to it.
Take it for me, Fred, please.
Says, 11:55 due by in 1 minute now.
It's right on time.
On the button. Hey, move over, Pop. Make room in the dark for a relative.
Make room.
There's more to the message. Last half says, I'll be riding the engine again. Signed, Kirby Willis.
11:55. Willis rode the 11:55 that night.
Shut up.
Found him in the hollow, sealed in his wrecked cab with his hand dead on the throttle.
Shut up, Pop, shut up. It's gone. Hey, Pop,
Yes, Fred.
you're like something contagious. Stick close to you nights and I can get to be just as crazy as you.
I'm sorry, son.
You know, just then with the 11:55 clearing the station, you know what crazy thought flashed through my head? This is the anniversary week of the wreck of the old 11:55. It would really be one for the books if the ghost of Kirby Willis rode the 11:55 into another wreck. How about that, Pop?
I, too, had the same thought. I kept my mind in the dark and my eyes to the ground later in San Amado Cemetery. I held my lantern over a headstone. Here lies Kirby Willis. Risen from the dead he was. There was every sign. An open grave, an open coffin lid. I could see by the shine of my lantern that Kirby wasn't in his coffin.
You came to see with your own eyes that Kirby Willis is outside his coffin,
Kirby?
on the path, plain in the light of your lantern. See me?
Yes.
I rode the 11:55 tonight.
I know. Kirby, to send a message on the wireless. How was it done?
I'll be riding the 1155 every night. This anniversary week, Ben says.
And on the last night, will the train go through on the last night?
Live through the week and see. Since you've come to comfort the dead, why not take yourself over to Jenny?
To Jenny?
5 graves from this one. Count 5 graves from mine. Go. Ask Jenny to tell you how she died.
I counted 5 graves from Kirby's. I stood there with my mind in the dark, my eyes to the ground. An open grave. This one, too. But the lid of the coffin was closed. Closed. But it opened while I watched. And a specter in white rose up.
Ben Sears? Are you Ben Sears?
I am.
Kirby sent you to me?
Yes. To ask how you died, he said. How did you die?
In my wedding gown. I was fitting it to wear for Kirby when the news came that night.
It was a tragic hour.
I stood there and didn't move. When they told me about Kirby, I never moved again from that minute.
You willed yourself to die.
My heart swelled up as big as myself, and then it stopped. I stopped it.
It was a bad time to die, when living was so good. And Kirby, firm to his promise, rode the 1155 for the anniversary week. And always with a message for me at 11:54, just 1 minute before.
I'll ride the engine of the 1155, Ben says. Look to the rail at Jericho Bend.
Look to the rail. Kirby meant to ride the 1155 to his death again. Stop! Stop the train! Stop!
It's too late.
Jenny!
It's too late to stop the train. 10 years too late.
But Kirby Willis is at the throttle. There'll be another wreck.
It's too late to care, Ben. See? The train's come in.
Our friends, your hosts, with a friendly warning. We may wind up with a thrill that'll chill you. Remember, if you go for dark chocolate, go get it. Get it in a Mars Forever Yours candy bar. That'll thrill you. And when the heat's on, pal, keep cool. Keep that Forever Yours in the refrigerator for a real chiller thriller. A frosty friend that's truly forever yours. Ben's sense of guilt isn't so big, really. Size 2, that's all. Kirby and Jenny. That engineer, Kirby Willis, now he's really stirring things up. He may be dead, but he's no deadhead. But it's Jenny who gets me. Isn't she a dream girl? Now, let me see. How far out of mind did we get? Oh, yes. There were the serenading coyotes and old Ben Sears. Sears had just seen history repeat itself.
Operator! Operator! This is Ben Sears. Says at the station. Operator, terrible thing. The 11:55. Operator. Operator. Oh, Fred.
What's cooking in the dark now, Pop?
Fred. Telephone. You. I can't make myself understood.
Give me the phone. What am I to say?
Say, outside, what you saw, 11:55. Wrecked.
Now, who'd be interested in hearing that?
Who'd be interested? Fred, pick up the telephone.
Pop, you're a maniac. You worked hard at becoming one and you made it. Now, what about the 11:55?
It's a wreck.
Kirby Willis, a ghost engineer on a ghost train. The wall clock's behind you, Pop. See what time it says.
11:54. It's only 11:54.
Here's the 11:55 now. Right on time. Your 11:55, Pop. It crashed in your head.
Saner mind than mine. I needed a saner mind than mine to take me by the hand. The wisdom of my years. Where was the wisdom of my years? Wilson, the town supervisor, I let him take me by the hand back to the Santa Marta Cemetery.
Which of the two graves, Ben?
Oh, over here is Kirby Willis. This grave.
This grave, you say?
It says Kirby Willis on the gravestone. I hold a letter to it. Where do we see different things, Wilson?
I see an open grave. An open grave and an open coffin.
Then here's 5 graves from this, Wilson. Count 5 graves.
5. I've counted 5.
I'm an old man. I've lost my reason. But not you, Wilson. You're the best mind in Santa Marta. The town supervisor. What do you say?
The grave, as unnatural as the first. Open. And the coffin, empty, like the first.
Ben Sears.
Where is it? Is it Jenny calling to you, Ben?
You hear her too?
Yes.
I stood in my bridal gown and didn't move. My heart swelled up. When it stopped, I stopped. So I could be with Kirby Willis. It was a bad time to die. Such a bad time when living could be so good.
Wilson,
Yes, Ben?
you heard what she said?
Every word.
And did you also see her?
Yes. Like a white mist.
And long flowing hair.
And no flesh that I could see. I do have your hallucinations now, Ben.
In the morning, Wilson, the best we had in Santa Marta, put his hallucinations to rest.
Well, I thought about the things we saw and heard, Ben. All night long, I thought about it. This morning, a clear thought came to me.
Clear thought.
That there's a guiding spirit behind these sights that have turned your mind.
I don't understand.
A guiding spirit with a scheme at hand. A scheme against you, Ben Sears. This morning, I took action. Now, let's see what the ghosts do.
What action did you take?
I ordered an arrest. The arrest of your stepson, Fred.
You arrested Fred?
He's the culprit, with others in with him, looting graves and dressing up to masquerade as ghosts.
Why would Fred conspire against me?
To drive you into the madhouse. Even to drive you to your death.
I can't believe it.
Yes, I know. I know it's a great shock to you. But the boy hates you, Ben.
Fred hates me.
Well, unbalanced as you've been these 10 years, an unsteady, brooding man, Fred's mother died to shut her eyes to the sight of you grieving. The boy thinks this.
Fred blames me for Margaret, his mother's passing.
And there's your house and land. With you gone, it will pass to him. There's profit in hate for Fred. No, I've reasoned it all out. Now let's see what the ghosts will do.
There was a message that night, that last anniversary night, 10 years to the day of the old wreck. Kirby Willis firm to his promise. I could hear his voice in the keys.
I'll ride the 1155 for the last time tonight. Look to the rail at Jericho Bend.
Look through the rain at Jericho Bend. This time I would. There would be no negligence this time. At Jericho Bend, I saw what I hadn't seen 10 years before. The rails were split. Once again, the rails were split. Stop the train. I had to stop the train. This time I knew to stop the train. My signal lantern, I waved it high in the air so Kirby could see it. Hurry! Stop! Stop in the name of mercy! I'd won this time. I'd stopped the train. I woke from a long sleep in the outdoors with someone standing over me. Wilson?
It's me.
The 1155, Wilson. The 1155.
The 1155 came and went.
Came and went?
You signaled it to stop, and it stopped. It's gone now. A train can't wait on a hallucinating old fool.
But the rail at Jericho Bend, it was split. I saw that with my own eyes.
The train took the bend with nothing wrong.
But I saw it. I'll show you. Here at the bend.
I'm standing here to be shown, Ben.
No, the rail is firm now. Fine. What I saw, I didn't see.
Except in your mind.
Yes. But on the ground there, in the hollow, I see a body, a lonely body in the night.
Yes, Ben. A dead man.
It's Kirby Willis, dead where he died before.
No, Ben, not Kirby. We've a strange corpse in this one. And a man who died tonight.
Tonight?
Blood soaked in his clothes and in the dirt. And still bleeding. The old dead don't bleed, Ben. And the old dead don't wear police handcuffs.
Police handcuffs?
There. On his wrists. And a bullet hole in his head. See? This one was shot to death. I'll telephone the coroner to come take the murdered man. Operator.
Wilson, wait with the telephone. It's Kirby on the wireless again.
Kirby, is it? I'll take this message, Ben.
What is the message?
An awakening. From a detective who was on the 1155 tonight. He's telegraphing from the first town he came to after here. He lost a prisoner, he says, when you stopped the 1155 tonight.
I don't understand.
A prisoner he was taking to the state penitentiary. Willie French, a convicted man. The message says we're to look for a short man, bald, wearing a dark suit and handcuffs.
That's the murdered man out there.
That is. And we're to tell our sheriff to look for a gangster named Curly Sands and a gun girl named Jenny. A pair who schemed to board the train here in San Amado and seize the prisoner. The scheme to seize the prisoner and murder him. That's how your hallucinations came about. San Amado was the place they picked to stop the 11:55. You were to stop the train for them, Ben. They played on your imagination all this anniversary week to get you to stop the train tonight, as you did. Ben, do you hear me?
There's a message coming in from Kirby.
Ben, come to your senses. We know the truth now.
I must decode the message.
Ben, help yourself. The keys aren't going. They aren't going. Except in your mind.
Keys are going. But we don't hear the same things anymore. Not anymore.
Well, a corpse in handcuffs. It's a fresh seasonal style note, friends, this merry month of mayhem. It gives death that little added weight. And old station master Ben, the way he kept crying over spilt guilt. A stiff stood up in a coffin and Ben blew his lid. Moral? Oh, sure. This one's a hint on proper behavior. When wandering through graveyards, never stop to chat with strange women.
Now, as I was saying, if you like dark chocolate, remember to ask for a Mars Forever Yours. That's the candy bar that brings you the friendly, honest, not-too-sweet taste of dark chocolate, delightfully accented with the bright, clean, fresh taste of pure vanilla. Forever Yours for elegant, pure, dark chocolate, wrapped thick around snow-white, pure vanilla nougat, topped with golden caramel. And say, if the weather's getting warm where you are, hear this. Forever Yours bars are being double protected now with a special warm weather inner wrapper to protect and seal in that delicious flavor. For a chill thrill that's really wonderful any warm day, just try a chilled Forever Yours. Get a supply of Forever Yours bars and keep 'em handy in your refrigerator. Yes, keep 'em chilled, and you'll enjoy a chill thrill that's particularly for you. Meant to be Forever Yours. And now, back to our host.
Tonight's Inner Sanctum Mystery was written by John Robert and starred Louis Van Ruten in the role of Ben. Lawson Zerby played Wilson. Music was by Lou White. This month's Inner Sanctum Mystery novel is Burden of Guilt by Ian Gordon. The entire production of Inner Sanctum is under the direction of Hyman Brown. Well, friends, it's time again to close that creaking door. Until next week at this same time, when we'll be back with more spooks and shudders. Next week, we're featuring a sprightly little item entitled A Corpse There Was, starring a winsome girl who liked to drag corpses around the house, evidently on the principle of not letting any grass grow under her or over them. You'll be sure to listen, won't you? Until then, good night. Pleasant dreams.
This is Alan C. Anthony reminding you that now it's the Mars Forever Yours bar that brings you Inner Sanctum. And remember to listen at this same time tomorrow night over most of these stations to Can You Top This? Also brought to you by Mars, where they believe that faithful quality makes faithful friends. This program came to you from New York. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
Arch Oboler's lights out, everybody. It
Arch Obler, bringing you another in our series of stories of the unusual. And once again, we caution you, these lights-out stories are definitely not for the timid soul. So we tell you calmly and very sincerely, if you frighten easily, turn off your radio now. November of 1939. Astronomically, that isn't even a blink in the eye of the universe, but it's a very long time measured in the length of our own very ephemeral lives. On that day, I aired our next story. Remember that date, 1939. A lot of heartbeats before we went to war against the madness of Adolf Hitler and his friend Benito. Listen to Bathysphere.
The sea is very quiet.
Yes, Your Excellency.
Will it be very quiet under the water?
No motion, Your Excellency.
And so it'll all be very amusing.
I hope so, sir. The captain ought to have everything ready by now, sir. If you'll excuse me now, Your Excellency, I'll go see.
No, just a moment, Doctor.
Yes, Your Excellency?
You're much too impatient, my dear young friend. One of the great joys of an experience is to savor it before it happens. Yes, stay and talk to me.
As you say, Your Excellency.
How far under will we have to go to break the record?
Over half a mile.
Uh-huh. How far's the bottom?
Just over the record mark.
Deeper than any man's ever gone. It'll all be very amusing. Suddenly the wind's changed.
Always at this hour of the day, Your Excellency. It's time to go.
I assure you that the sea will wait for us.
But I am thought that...
Don't think so much, my young friend. Thinking is an unnecessary pastime. The emotions are much more dependable. My thoughts tell me that this little excursion under the sea will be quite precarious. On the other hand, my emotions tell me that it will be most interesting and amusing.
Your Excellency, we are ready.
Oh, Captain, you too are impatient, huh?
I don't know what you mean. That is to say...
No, don't splutter. Now, come ahead, my young and impatient friend. We'll go aboard your diving bell and begin our little adventure. Come.
Attention! You see, Your Excellency, we are quite ready.
Well, Doctor, is everything to your satisfaction?
Did you put in an extra oxygen tank, Captain?
Yes, sir. Everything just as you said, Doctor.
The telephone communication been tested?
20 times.
Searchlight?
I assure you everything has been tested, Doctor.
The winch goes smoothly now.
Why, yes, I believe...
I don't want you to believe. I want you to know.
But I assure you...
Go and test it at once.
Yes, Doctor. At once, Doctor.
All right, men. Test number one.
Aye, aye, sir. Aye, aye. Test number one.
Over it. Slowly there.
Well, your thoroughness is most commendable, Doctor.
We are going half a mile below the sea, sir. Nothing can be left to chance. The pressures down there are almost beyond imagination.
Yes, I know.
Particularly on this dive, everything must be protection.
You mean the record?
I mean, Your Excellency, that your life is precious to the state.
Yes. The press of the world has known me only as a record breaker in the world of what they so quaintly term power politics. By nightfall, they'll herald me as a record breaker in the world of science, eh, Doctor?
If all goes well, Your Excellency.
Yes. You have doubts?
No one can predict the ways of the sea.
What are you talking about? We'll be quite apart from the sea inside of the steel ball, this bathysphere, oxygen to breathe, telephone with which to communicate, light with which to see. Why should there be any question?
Question of the human factor, Your Excellency.
You're as cautious as they said. I like that. I, too, am a cautious man. Oh, yes, indeed. My success has been based upon determining that the unpredictable cannot occur until I say embark upon my bold adventure. I'm talking quite frankly with you, eh, Doctor? Well, it pleases me to do so. For a few hours, we'll be locked up in that steel ball. There's no reason you shouldn't know a little about your leader, is there?
You honor me, sir.
For example, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt the steel cable which will drop us down beneath the ocean has strength enough to hold 50 such steel spheres as the one we'll be in. I know, too, that you've made 30 such descents off the floor of the ocean without the slightest misadventure. The men on this cruiser, they are specially trained for the work. And with my life in their hands, I'm sure they'll be particularly careful on this descent. Hey, Doctor?
There is no doubt of it, sir.
All ready now, sir?
Shall we go now, Your Excellency?
Yes, of course, of course.
Careful, Your Excellency. The deck is quite wet here.
Well, thank you, Captain. We'll escort, sir.
Thank you, sir. Attention!
No formalities. Let the men go about their business so we can get started.
Yes, Your Excellency. At your work, men.
Would you like to get into the bathysphere first, Your Excellency?
No, after you. Quite a small doorway, isn't it? How fortunate we're both small, lean men, Doctor. Lean men. Caesar once said something about that sort, didn't he?
I don't know much about that sort of thing, sir.
No, I didn't imagine, sir. Get in, Doctor. I'll follow you.
Yes, sir.
Head first into the steel ball. Quite a route dignity, eh, Captain?
Shall I help you, sir?
No, I'll make it all right. You ready for me, Doctor?
Come ahead, sir. And now, careful of the bolt end, sir.
Careful.
That does it.
You're all right, sir?
Yes, of course I am. Well, what are we waiting for?
Captain.
Aye, sir?
Close her up.
Aye, sir.
Your ears. Cover your ears, sir.
Huh?
The bolts and wing bolts that hold the door shut, they have to be tightened by hammering with a sledge. Cover your ears, sir. Right now, so they've done.
But what an infernal din. Wasn't really out of the way.
Hammering is the only definite guarantee of a watertight seal, sir.
My ears.
All well in there, sir?
What's that?
A voice through the telephone, sir. They'll communicate with us from the deck every 3 minutes. If one of us doesn't answer within half a minute, the orders are to pull us up.
An excellent safety precaution. Yes, indeed.
All well in there, Doctor?
All well.
We're moving.
Yes. Lifting us out to the end of the boom, and then down we go. Look, sir, you can see the deck down there through the windows.
Glass, so clear.
Clearest in the world. Quartz glass to stand the pressure.
Letting us down in the water, aren't they?
Yes, sir, in a moment.
We're under.
Yes, I turn the oxygen higher.
The light. So green.
Yes. Soon it'll be blue. Then a darker blue until at around 2,000 feet we'll be in a darkness that goes beyond dark. Complete, eternal night.
Eternal night under the water. How amusing.
All well down there, sir?
All well.
How far down are we?
About 1,100 feet, sir.
It's hard to believe it.
There is almost a quarter of a mile of water crushing down upon us.
The word crushing is most inappropriate at this time, my young friend.
My apologies, Your Excellency.
I've been watching the water. You said it would be as night. Yet it isn't black, it's blue. Strangest blue.
A few more 100 feet, and there will be no more color in the water, sir.
The light out there. What?
I can't quite make it out, sir. Perhaps some sort of a luminous plankton.
It's amusing. The fishes carrying along their own electric plants.
The dark's alive with them, sir. Oh, look, sir.
What?
That small flat fish. You see? Even his teeth gleam with the luminous mucus. I've caught that sort in the trawls. They can eat organisms as large as they are. Wait, I'll turn on the searchlight and you'll see.
No, never mind. I didn't come under the sea out of any interest in those bits of fish.
As you say, sir.
They light up like a train in the dark. Oh, but the portholes of the boat would be a more appropriate figure of speech. Well, seen one, seen them all.
All well down there, sir?
All well.
How far down now? Ask him.
How far?
1,350 feet.
Right.
You make good time, huh?
Yes, sir. They lowered us very quickly, sir.
A 6-foot ball containing a very earnest young man and the leader of the state. Headed for... What should we say, Doctor?
A new record, sir.
Is that as far as your imagination carries you?
At the moment, I cannot say, Your Excellency.
Well, perhaps when we reach the end of the cable, we'll discuss life and death very profoundly, eh, my friend? Philosophy under the sea. Yes.
All well down there, sir?
All well.
2,200 feet.
Right.
How much further?
We've 4,000 feet of cable, sir.
You were right. There's a darkness out there now that's darker than any night that man has ever seen. It's amusing.
All well down there, sir?
All well.
2,800 feet, sir.
Right. Your Excellency,
Yes?
in 10 or 11 minutes we will have broken the record. You keep your eyes so close to that window. Might I ask why?
I thought I saw something out there.
What, sir?
Something huge. It gave off a pale green light and then was gone so quickly I'm not quite sure.
I'll turn on the switch.
No. No, this infernal darkness amuses me. Tell me, Doctor, in your other trips, have you seen anything out there? Oh, vague, huge, you know what I mean.
Yes, sir. Several times.
Well?
Shadowy and indistinct. I couldn't say what, sir.
Can't you guess?
I have no answer.
All well down there, sir?
Oh, tell him yes, and stop annoying us.
All well, and John
Captain's compliments, sir. You've reached 3,028 feet, sir.
That was Beebe's record.
Huh?
The old one.
3,030.
Broken it.
3,100.
Doctor, that's quite enough.
3,150.
Doctor, did you hear me? Broken the record on a few feet to spare. Order them to hold us up.
3,200.
Doctor, you out of your head. I gave you orders. Have them pull us up. I've had enough of this. I tell you that I... What happened?
Happened? We just landed at the bottom of the sea, that's all.
Why did you ignore my orders? I said to go up. What are you doing now? What was that lever that you threw? Answer me.
Yes, I'll answer.
Haven't you forgotten something, Doctor?
What?
To say, sir, Your Excellency.
Excellency? Here at the bottom of the sea.
What happened to you? All of a sudden you... Now, the excitement of creating a new record, a little too much for you, eh, my young friend? Well, it's understandable. Now signal the ship and have them draw us up. Your little adventure is over. Didn't you hear me? I said signal the ship.
How?
Are you out of your mind completely? Telephone them. At once, you hear me?
The telephone consists of a carbon transmitter, receiver, actuating battery, and connecting wire. We have no telephone.
Get to one side. Hello. Hello up there. Hello. Hello, answer me. Hello. Hello, blast you, answer me. Hello.
But they don't. The wire's torn loose. Would you know how to fix it, Your Excellency?
What? Oh, I see it. Happened when we bumped on the bottom, didn't it? Well, can't you fix it?
I can, but I won't, Your Excellency.
What is this?
It's taken you a great number of moments longer than I expected to ask that question. You notice that I've called you Your Excellency a couple of times, but that was the end of that. From now on, I will call you Your Infernal Excellency.
How amusing.
Still amusing.
Yes.
I don't believe it. You think it's some kind of madness on my part, that you'll do something about it.
Not I, you.
I?
You have an emergency way of signaling. Yes, I know you have. You flashed the searchlight on and off 3 times, and the flow of current registers up on deck. And they know that it's an emergency. I'll go ahead and do it, and perhaps I'll forget your little... shall we call it... joke?
I am quite content to stay down here.
Turn on the searchlight. All right, I'll do it myself.
Why waste your time? You've so little of it left.
What do you mean by that?
The searchlight, too, is disconnected.
Why?
There is no need of it. It will be best to die in the dark.
Die?
Yes.
This is impossible. I investigated you, your record, your family, your associates. Clearest record in the state. You have no reason in the world to kill me. Kill me? It's really funny. A young, empty-headed fool killed me. It's very amusing.
You'll be afraid soon.
Is it possible that you've forgotten the final emergency signal, you fool? Yes, I said signal. The signal of silence. I'll try the telephone as scheduled, and when we don't answer, they'll pull us up. Have you forgotten that?
It's been more than 3 minutes since the last signal. If what you say is true, why aren't we moving?
We are. For all I know, we are.
Are we?
The darkness, who can tell if there's enough motion?
You know we're motionless. As quiet as in a tomb. Appropriate, then. And we'll stay here. I know that.
Huh?
That lever up on the roof that I pulled.
Well?
It threw the end of the steel cable free. Yes, severed the cord between ourselves and the ship and the world.
No.
We are here, Your Infernal Excellency. Down here to stay.
No. You lie. I don't believe you. They'll pull us up. The telephone, here. Here, you up there, listen. Get me up. Get me up. You up there, hear me. It's your leader. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. You hear me? Get me out of here. Out of here.
Oxygen left for another hour, and it takes you 10 precious minutes of your precious life to believe. You do believe you're going to die now, don't you?
But I'm sure nothing could happen. Every detail of the machinery, the record of every member of the crew.
And I was one of those who was perfectly harmless.
Yes, your past. Since a boy trained in the schools of the state. Your father an official. Why do you do this to me? Why?
Your ego is so great that even now, knowing you're going to die here with me, you're less concerned with death than you are with knowing wherein you failed.
Answer me, why do you do this? You were trained in my schools, brought up to think the way you should think. Who up there made you do this thing, and why?
It will be a slow death. As slow as the death of my country.
Answer me, who and why?
Your mouth will bite for air, and there won't be enough to let you live, and yet there'll be enough so that you won't quite die.
You'll tell me you will.
Your lungs will reach up through your mouth, a breath of air, just another. There won't be another. And as you die, you'll know it.
I want to know one thing. Why do you do this?
Why? Yes, I'll give you your whys. You trained me in your schools. And from morning to night, what went into my head was only what you decreed was right and proper for a good citizen of your eternal state to know. Yes, you crammed my head full. But there's one place you and your books and your speeches couldn't reach. My heart.
Your heart?
Yes, heart. You heard me, heart. My head said believe. My heart said no. My head said obey. My heart said no. That's where you made your mistake, you devil. You didn't start in young enough with me. For the heart that was born inside of me has brought you here to die.
I don't understand.
Wait, I'll turn a little more oxygen on. That'll give me a little more strength to keep on telling you you're fired and cut the breath left for you after I'm finished. What was I saying? Yes, that you didn't condition me quite well enough. Should have started with the embryo, for somewhere along the line a little humanity got inside of me that cried out against what you were doing. It grew and grew until it said you had to die. And you will die. Yes, here in the black under the sea. And they won't roll drums for you, march for you. End it here. What have you to say to that?
You
Fool? Is that all you answer?
Yes, fool.
You think I'm a fool to die here with you? You call me a fool when I know that ending here I give a new beginning to those up there.
Yes, such a fool.
Oh, stop saying that. They won't say it back in the cities when they know that they're free.
You fool. You think the freeing them of me will make them free?
Yes, of course it will.
I call you fool again. How do you think I became the head of the state? Through my great wisdom? I'm really not so wise. Through my great courage? No man has courage of that sort to stand up single-handed against the bullets and the bayonets of the entrenched powers. And how did I do it?
With lies and ruthlessness and cruelty, I know.
You don't know a thing. You saw the end result surrounded by pomp and circumstance, and you couldn't see the means. All right, I know I'm going to die. And a man is expected to die as long as I have. The actuality isn't quite as frightening as you might think. Since I am going to die, I'll have the one small satisfaction of showing you that you're an empty-headed fool.
Stop saying that.
Oh, you too have an ego. Apparently it's lived for weeks on how you'd make me plead and beg and squirm down on my knees. I had a few moments of hysteria, didn't I? You like that. You don't like this. My sitting in the dark so calmly telling you that you're a fool.
I haven't failed. You're here.
You failed because if you're killing me and yourself to give them back their freedom, whatever that word means, you're dying quite in vain.
You're saying that because you think...
No, don't talk. Listen to me. I'll tell you where you failed. I came into power not alone through my own strength, but because the conditions of our country were such that other men sitting on their wealth came to the decision that I alone could keep them there.
But it was you.
I tell you, listen. When an ancient rule of privilege is threatened, it seeks to live no matter what the cost. The cost to them was me, and they found me worth it. For I threw to the mass none of the wealth they'd worked to build, but only fighting phrases of prejudice and hate that cost the men who made me nothing but the rent of the halls for the simple to hear my opiates. And so I call you fool. Fool to die and fool to kill me. For the conditions that made me will still exist when I'm dead. You free them of me. But what of hunger? What of ruthless exploitation? These will still be free up there to put hate and desperation into men. And so the ones who gave me power will find a new leader to stop the rumblings of rebellion with all the tricks that I taught them. A new leader. You hear me, fool? A new leader.
No, it isn't true. It can't be true.
It's so dark. If I could see your face, to see the fool discovering he's a fool.
They will be free. They will.
What magic do you think will come into the air when I'm dead? Will men forget their greed and say, oh, we've quite enough. That's enough for everyone. Let each share according to his needs. No, fool. With me or without me, the game will be played just as it always has been played. So you're a fool and die like one.
Well, what could I have done? I had to do something.
I'll tell you what you could have done. You could have done the one thing that would have in time helped destroy not only me, but those who made me. You could have gone to the people.
What?
Yes, walked among them, worked among them. And at every chance whispered to them the things I kept from them. A noose would have been around your neck every time you opened up your mouth. And yet, In that talking of liberty and freedom and common decency and all the rest of that sort of thing, there's been far more meaning in this futile murdering of me. I've had them hunted down and shot, each of those who dare to whisper among the people. But as they died, I didn't call them fools, because I knew that they were wise. That only through the will to live and do of the great bludgeoning mass of their people was their hope of making that new world they wanted. Oh, why have I bothered talking? The air's thick. I'm tired. Hand me something heavy, fool.
Why?
Why? More explanations? All right, the last one. You think I'm going to sit here and wait and count my every breath until the dark's crawling with horrors and I'm No. I'll end it now, quickly. Here's faster than a bullet shot. Give me something heavy, I tell you. I'll smash the glass. The water, tons of it, smashing in. I'll be dead, faster than the sword and never ended. Give me something to smash the glass or I'll...
There, sir? All well down there, sir?
Voice. Telephone.
All well. Take us up.
We're moving. There's water on the glass. We're moving. Doctor, the cable.
I lied.
But all this time, why?
My orders to the crew were to leave us alone on the bottom as soon as the slackening of the wire showed them we'd hit the bottom.
Telephone.
I reconnected it while you talked.
Then, you didn't really mean to kill me.
Kill you? Yes, I meant to kill you. I had it all planned out. Tell you what I told you, and then you'd go quite crazy with fear. And after that, I'd kill you.
2,900 feet. All well down there, sir?
All well.
And yet you didn't.
The lights of the creatures out there. Blinking of stars on a cold night.
Why didn't you kill me? I want to know.
What would have been the good of it? A fool and a figurehead die together. No good of it.
So you believed me?
Even a fool can understand futility.
The water's getting lighter. Soon we'll be back. Up there. It'll be very strange at first.
I don't much care now, yet I'll ask. What happens to me?
You? I told you many things down there, didn't I? Yes, too many things. A man in doubt, as I was, talks too much. And since you of necessity heard what I said, when we get there, I will probably have you shot. The victim sentences his murderer. It will be most amusing.
The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. We've all had the experience of meeting someone who bears a remarkable resemblance to someone else. In a country peopled by 220 million individuals, is it possible that someone, somewhere, is your double? Not just someone who looks like you, but a complete and exact double? Susan Hollis can answer that question better than I.
I was waiting for the light to change at 5th and 49th when it began. A stoutish, stylish, older woman was headed past me for the door to Saks when suddenly she stopped, and her jaw dropped, looking for all the world as if she was seeing a ghost.
Helen Roberts! I can't believe it.
I'm afraid you've made a mistake.
Oh, not me, honey. Don't try to tell your one-time friend and next-door neighbor that you're not Mrs. X. Daniel Rogers of Sterling Drive in Sandport.
Nope, just plain Susan Hollis of Jackson Heights, Queens.
Okay, that's the way you want it. Heaven knows I want no part of you. I'm only sorry to see you looking so well after what you did. By this time, the way you were going, I thought you'd have been long dead.
Our mystery drama, Double Exposure, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Ian Martin and stars Kim Hunter. It is sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, Brewers of Budweiser, and Buick Motor Division. I'll be back shortly with Act One.
You've seen the Budweiser commercials on television, and maybe you've wondered how long people have been putting that famous Bud label on things. Well, not as long as the Brewers of Bud have been putting things on the label. Things like a list of Bud's most important ingredients. Quote, brewed by our original process from the choicest hops, rice, and best barley malt. And things like the following statement. This is the famous Budweiser beer. We know of no brand produced by any other brewer which costs so much to brew and age. Our exclusive Beechwood aging produces a taste, a smoothness, and a drinkability you'll find in no other beer at any price. Unquote. Yes, brewing beer right does make a difference. Read the Bud label. Taste the king of beers, and you'll agree, when you say Budweiser, you've said it all. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis.
Remember when you were a kid and how neat it felt to come into a warm and secure home after school or after playing in the rain? And you probably thought that when you grew up, you'd want your own home to feel that same way. Well, time has taken you into a home and a family, but that feeling that you and your home long for seems to be missing. Well, Kay and Bill Evans have a simple solution. Drapery's Unique, the home of distinctive custom decor in Keystone Park. Choose exciting wallpaper for the kitchen. Give warmth to the den by the addition of woven wood shades, of which Drapery's Unique has the Southwest's largest selection. Or make the living room more livable with custom draperies available in over 6,000 different fabrics. And right now couldn't be a better time to give your home that feeling by taking advantage of Labor Less Savings, now until September 15th. 50% savings on labor and 25% savings on lining for custom draperies. Once again, 10-day delivery available at Drapery's Unique in the Keystone Park Shopping Center.
This is a tale of today, a search for a dark and clouded past. A haunting story of chance encounter, if there is such a thing. Or is everything predestined from the moment we come into the world, crying for the warmth and comfort we have left? This is a story whose present is buried in the past, to be lost and found again in the future. But it is not my story. It belongs to Susan Hollis.
Well, it wasn't a very pleasant encounter, but it was just a small mistake in identity, something to be disregarded. But in the meantime, the light had changed, and I stepped off the curb. And it happened again. This time it couldn't be waved away as easily. It changed my whole life.
Helen. Well, I'll be damned.
Look, I'm not...
All these years looking for you, and the first day I'm back again in the U.S., you're the first person I run into.
Look, I'm sorry, but I am not Helen.
Oh, now, look, you can't get away with that. Don't you think I know my own wife?
What?
Oh, come here. We better get back on the curb. We're blocking traffic. Here, let me give you a hand.
But I wasn't going back this way. I wanted to cross. And I wish you'd listen to me. I am not Helen Roberts. And I'm certainly not your wife.
Well, technically, of course, the Roberts is out. What is the name now, anyway?
My name is of no importance to you. Now, if you'll be kind enough to let me go.
Come on now, Helen. Give me a break, huh? Now, let's go somewhere for a drink, and I can at least tell you about the children. Or don't you even want to hear about
Mister,
them?
will you listen to me, please? I have never been your wife. I've never seen you before in my life.
But I just saw you talking to Lillian Freiberg before she went into the store.
I never saw that woman in my life before either. This is getting like a nightmare. Look, I just...
Helen,
don't
Helen,
wanna...
please be reasonable. Now, if you don't want to talk here, give me a phone number or an address where I can reach you.
Let me go. Or I warn you, I'll holler like all get out for a cop.
I'm sorry.
And once more, just so maybe it will sink in, I am not who you think I am. I would have laughed at the whole thing, except they both seem so darn positive. All afternoon, the incidents came back to haunt me and annoy me. Because of them, I kept making typos and got so behind in my work. I finally did forget the whole silly thing in a rush to get all my letters typed in time to make the subway before the rush hour. But having dinner with Ed that night, it came back to me. And I told him about it.
You sure you don't want dessert?
No, thanks, Ed. Just enough room to finish my coffee. You go ahead, though.
Not me. I'm having trouble squeezing into my uniforms right now. Sitting in that squad car does it.
On you, it looks good.
On me, it looks just as bad as anyone. Except it don't matter all that much.
What do you mean?
If I got all the way back down to 175, I still couldn't get anywheres with you.
Ed, please. Our friendship is too valuable to me. Let's not start that again.
Oh, don't worry. I took my licks on that 2 years ago. Well, I say 1 year ago.
If you were sweet and kind, Ed. To wait that whole year after Carl died.
Well, I had to give you a chance to shake down, Susan. That was one rough marriage.
Poor Carl. 2 months we had. And then 4 years in a wheelchair.
Well, it's the risk you take when you're a cop. At least the way it's turned out, he left you a pretty rich woman.
All the money in the world couldn't make it for... Oh, Ed, for heaven's sake, let's get off this old merry-go-round.
Oh, I'm sorry, baby. Guess I started it because I keep reaching for the brass ring. So, yeah, let's change the subject. You still a little shook over what happened this afternoon?
You're stupid, I guess, but I am.
Honey, you should spend a couple of days at the precinct house where we run lineups. You any idea how hard it is to get a solid identification from a witness or a plaintiff?
You're talking about someone who's seen the other person once. These two people were a next-door neighbor and a husband. Whoever she is, boy, this woman has got to practically be my twin. It's fascinating. I'd love to see her just once.
If I was you, I'd just leave it lay.
Why?
Well, maybe it's just I'm a cop and I smell things that ain't there. But, you know, you're worth a lot of dough. And you were in the papers.
If anyone who could recognize me from that graduation picture would have to be psychic. But, I guess you're right. It's kind of a funny feeling knowing that somewhere around you have a double. But, I'll take your advice and put it out of my mind. Cheers. I wasn't going to be allowed to forget it. Ed drove me home to that sad, ugly bottom floor of a two-family house which had held so many years of unhappiness for me. Hello?
Good evening. Is this Susan Hollis?
Yes. Who's talking, please?
Please don't be alarmed, and please don't hang up. It's Dan Roberts.
Who?
You're the man who stopped you on the street today at lunchtime on 5th Avenue, remember?
How did you find my phone number?
Oh, the way the visiting fireman always forgets to do. I looked in the phone book.
But how did you know what book to... And how did you know my real name?
If it is your real name.
It is. I have a good mind to report you to the police. Why, you must have been following me.
Now, please, Miss... or Mrs. Hollis, or whoever you are, I'm a consulting engineer, not a private eye.
Then how did you know how to find me?
Well, I saw you bump into Lillian Freiberg just before I caught up with you. I followed her into the department store, naturally, and asked her if you'd given her the same story as me, and she said yes, that you'd claimed to be a Susan Hollis from Queens.
Which now you know I am. So that ends...
Helen, I mean, Miss, or is it Mrs. Hollis?
I don't think that's any of your business.
All right, then, Susan, for want of something more polite, please. I want to see you again. I want to talk to you.
Well, I don't. I want you to stop bothering me.
It's not for me. It's for two little girls named Kim and Jenny. Don't they mean anything to you?
No, of course they don't.
Now, damn it, Helen, what kind of a mother... Please, forgive me. I wish I could make you understand, but if you really are who you... Well, you couldn't be. But I've got to see you again, Miss Hollis, or whatever your name is.
Look, oh, for heaven's sakes, if it'll make you talk in sentences instead of gibberish, it's Mrs. Hollis.
You're married.
My husband is dead.
I'm sorry.
So am I. Now, may we say goodbye?
I beg you, I plead with you. There are things I want to say to you, to explain. I can't do it over the phone. Can we meet again? May I meet you for lunch tomorrow at say, the Palm Room at the Park Plaza?
You know, you're the most persistent man I've ever met. And I'm really not a prude, but I don't like pickups.
I really don't see how you can get in much trouble at the Palm Room, do you?
Well, it's a little outside my normal stamping grounds, but... Well, okay. But I'm a working girl, and my lunch hour is limited. Can we make it at 12:30 sharp? The coldness in my voice as I hung up was more than anything to cover the excitement I couldn't help feeling. I'd never been to the Palm Room. Also, I was intrigued. Intrigued by the mystery of the whole thing. Yes, admit it, Susan. Intrigued by his voice. And my memory of a very handsome man that unexpectedly I was about to meet again.
Well, here's to better reacquaintance.
I'll just bet to acquaintance. Buy that?
With pleasure. Now, I'm afraid I'm going to have to do quite a bit of talking.
Well, I'm a good listener.
Now, where to begin? Well...
Do you have every credit card in that wallet?
Well, most. When you travel as much as I do. Oh, here we are. Of course, these photographs were taken 7 years ago, but who would you say that woman is?
Well, it isn't me, of course, but it could be. Oh, Lord, it could be. Helen, I suppose.
Uh-huh. That's Helen. And these?
Oh, how adorable.
You, don't recognize them?
No. I suppose these are your daughters.
Yes. Well, they've changed quite a bit in 6 years, of course. But then, they looked like this.
Well, the baby, it's difficult to tell.
Well, she wasn't quite a year old, but Jenny...
Oh, yes. Even then, quite a little lady.
3 years old. The day my wife walked out.
Mr. Roberts, if you
Just a moment. Now I will do the talking. A consulting engineer with a large firm has to do a great deal of traveling, particularly in his first years with the firm. Well, in the 5 years we were married, I was well aware of the fact that I was gone to Europe, to the Far East, South America, wherever I was sent for over half the time. Now, it's unfair leaving a young wife and later a mother alone for long periods of time in a suburban area, but, well, that was the nature of my job. And then came that terrible day I came back from Brazil. I was tired. The plane was way overdue, and I came home to an empty house. Empty, except for this.
Oh, I really...
Read it, please.
Oh, Dan, I'm getting out just before you get home. I couldn't face it. It's all over. I'm going away, and I won't be back. I guess it doesn't do much good to say I'm sorry. Helen. P.S. I'm leaving the kids. They'll be better off with you.
And she dropped completely out of sight. Oh, I was mad at first. I made no attempt to trace her. I had to go to England on a job, so I sold the house and took the kids with me. They're still there. Except now I'm home again and looking for somewhere to bring them back to.
And Helen?
and Helen. With no luck till yesterday.
But I'm not Helen. I'm someone else. However, I do, I know a lot of policemen. Maybe I can help. What was the date she disappeared?
April 14th, 1968. What? Is something wrong? What is it?
Why would Susan start so at a particular date? There's been no doubt in our minds from the very beginning that she is exactly who she says she is. Is it possible that in some way there is doubt in her? But as I said, this is Susan's story, so we'll let her tell the rest of it when I return shortly with Act 2.
Excuse me, sir, but do you know what happens this time of year?
Right on, pal. I happen to know that right about now a freak blizzard falls on Dumont, New Jersey, and they're snowed in for the rest of the summer. Happens every year.
Nope. You see, what happens this time of year is that you can get a particularly good deal on what is perhaps the most luxurious mid-size car on the market, the mid-size Buick Century Regal.
Well, what good's a car when you're hopelessly snowed in?
Well, that's a point.
Spruce and maple trees give us the violin. And if we don't stop burning them down, we'll have a little less music. We'll also have a little less lumber, a little less paper, a little less rayon, a little less alcohol, a little less maple syrup, a little less printing ink, a little less turpentine.
A public service
charcoal
on behalf of the Forest Service, State Foresters, and the Ad Council.
Morning, Mr. Green. Say, haven't seen this big car in a spell.
Nowadays, Caleb, we use our small car mostly.
You know, this big engine might not be getting the exercise it needs.
Exercise?
Yep, to get rid of harmful engine deposits. Make sure you're using Quaker State motor oil. It's fortified to fight deposit buildup.
Is Quaker State still available most places?
Yep, but people need it now more than ever.
Quaker State's your car to keep it running, yeah.
In the beginning, this was a simple case of mistaken identity. The only complication possibly being that both the identifiers seemed so positive, so unconvinced by Susan Hollis' claim that she was not Helen Roberts. Then, just at the moment when the more important of the two people, Dan Roberts, appeared to indicate he had been mistaken, Susan herself, hearing the date that Helen Roberts disappeared, has a strangely guilty reaction.
What is it? Something wrong? What is it?
Nothing. It's just you're mentioning the 14th. It's a date that happens to be very important in my life, too. That's all.
Important how?
How long were you married to Helen?
4 years.
And you met her in how did you meet her?
That's not what you were going to say at first.
You haven't answered my question.
Okay. I met her in a hospital. Nothing serious. I broke my damn fool leg skiing, and they flew me down from New Hampshire to have it set.
What hospital?
Physicians. Why? Why all the questions, the interrogation?
Look, I don't want to talk about it. As a matter of fact, I think I'll just skip lunch.
No, wait a minute. I brought you here to make a truce.
Well, it's having that drink in the middle of the day. I'm not used to it.
What you need is some food, and here it comes.
I really think I should leave.
Will you do me one favor? Finish lunch with me. Food is what you need, and I promise we won't mention Helen or the past.
What shall we talk about?
Us. Just as if it was our first date, which I hope it is. But what I really mean is, I hope it's not the last.
Thank you for the palm room. I have to confess that's really what lured me into accepting your invitation.
Oh? Where would you like to go next time?
Oh, well, I'm not sure there should be a next time.
Well, why? Haven't I told you I'm ready to believe you're exactly who you are, Susan Hollis?
Yes. But you haven't told me exactly why.
Well, I'm afraid I was desperate enough to engage in some skullduggery.
Like what?
I stooped to snoop. You see, I went out to Jackson Heights and your neighborhood this morning, and by posing as a survey taker, I got quite a bit of information about you from the butcher, the baker, your landlord, and so on.
Well, I think you had one hell of a nerve. What did you find out?
Just that you are Mrs. Hollis, that your husband was a policeman, and that while going to the aid of an old lady who was being mugged, he was shot in the back, in the spine, to be exact, by the mugger's accomplice, and that he spent the rest of his life almost completely paralyzed. I'm sorry, Susan. I want somehow to make up some of it to you.
Why?
Well, it's too complicated and too intimate to be talked about here and now.
Look, this is my building anyway, and I'm already late getting back. Goodbye, Dan.
Please, Susan.
Look, I don't know what I'm getting into.
Nothing you'll be sorry for, believe me.
How can you convince me of that? How can I convince... All right, I'll make a bargain with you, Dan.
I accept without hearing the terms.
Don't call me or come to my house. I'll call you within the next 3 days, I promise. Just give me your number where I can reach you.
I still think it was a crazy thing to do, Susie.
Oh, I should never have called you last night to tell you how he'd gotten my phone number.
Well, that's why I trailed you today. Well, what did he want to talk to you about?
2 things, really. And they both sort of surprised me.
How?
Well, first off, he showed me a picture of his wife.
Huh?
And even given the fact that it was taken 7 years ago, the resemblance was absolutely uncanny.
A picture can be touched up so you couldn't tell it from your own mother if you start from someone who looks near enough alike.
But why would he want to do anything like that? What would be the point? Just to meet me?
Why not?
Oh, Ed, you're sweet. Maybe I'm something very special to you, but I'm not nearly as attractive as you.
You'd be surprised how attractive even the ugliest dame with 250,000 fish in the bank, to say nothing of Carl's insurance and your own savings, can look to a guy who lives off of women.
Look, you can't think that about someone as sweet and as nice as Dan.
Oh? Hey, we're on a first-name basis now already?
Well,
Oh, you don't have to tell me. I could tell by the way he was turning it on. He was getting to you.
Oh, look, damn it, I don't like being spied on.
Well, I'm just trying to watch out for you.
Ed, I know, I'm sorry. It's just the way he talked about his wife, even after she'd walked out on him like that.
Walked out on him like what?
I sat down on the couch with Ed and told him everything that had happened. Everything except one thing, of course. He was a good listener. Finally, there wasn't any more to tell except my own side. And that I wasn't telling anyone, except Dr. Vane.
Are you going to see him again?
I don't know. If we do see each other, I'll be the one to decide. And if I do, I don't want to be followed.
I'm going to make you mad, Susie. But till your Mr. Dan Roberts checks out A-OK with me, I'm keeping my big nose in this.
Oh, Ed, you don't have to worry about me and fortune hunters. That money that Mrs. Westingate left to Carl when she died is in escrow. I'll never touch it. It was to make up for Carl being hurt and saving her from the mugging. It isn't my money. It's only being held till the lawyers and I decide on the best charity for it to go to.
Your Mr. Roberts doesn't know that.
So the next time I see him, if I ever do, somehow I'll try to let him know.
You want to see him again, don't you, Susie?
Yes.
You really go for him in a big way, huh?
I didn't say that.
I've seen you hurt so bad once through nobody's fault. I wouldn't ever want to see you hurt again.
Well, I'm sure Dan would never do anything like that.
How can you be sure? Why did his wife run out on him? Where did she go? How come she dropped out of sight like a stone in a pond? Where is this Helen Roberts, if there ever really was one? There's a million questions to be asked, Susie. And what's more, answered.
Look, they can all wait, Ed. There's one of my own that has to be answered first. I'd made the appointment the moment I got back from lunch with Dan. Heaven knows I'd have made it for that same day, but Dr. Vane was out of town. It had to be tomorrow. Oh, how I wished it could have been my sweet old Dr. Chandler who treated me for the accident, but that dear, good benefactor was over 9 years dead. His secrets, if there were any, had to lie with Dr. Vane.
I do remember you, Miss Ainsley. I'm sorry. Mrs. Hollis now, isn't it?
Yes, that's right, Dr. Vane.
Even though I was Dr. Chandler's assistant at the time, I don't know if you recall me.
Oh, of course I do, vividly. Those were the days when I knew who so few people were, including myself.
Yes. Terrifying thing, isn't you? Fortunately, yours was very short-lived.
Well, I hope it was. I thought it was then.
Does that mean you think you've been blanking out recently again?
No, I mean, not exactly. What I really want to make sure of is...
Is what, Mrs. Howard?
Is whether the results of that whack on the head I got were ever really cleared up. I mean, maybe Dr. Chandler's the only one who really could have told me. I don't know if you have the facts to answer me. I just pray to God you have.
Well, we keep a record on all patients. Yours may take a little while to dig back to. Excuse me a moment. Nurse, will you look up for me in the inactive file a patient of Dr. Chandler's, Miss Ainsley. That's Ainsley, first name Susan. Now, while we're waiting, why don't you tell me what's worrying you?
I'll have to begin at the beginning. I was 17 in 1964, fresh out of high school, and fresh out of Nebraska, arriving in the city, the big one, the only one where every dream comes true. Some of this only came back later, you understand, but I'm trying to tell it in one straight line, or maybe I'll get you lost, too.
I understand. Tell it any way you want to.
Well, my mother died when I was 15, and I'd been sort of keeping house for Pop. Just the two of us. Then he died, just after my graduation, and that was the end of my family. By the time I settled up everything and buried him, there was less than $1,000. I had to get away. So I paid my bus fare, kept $20 or $30 in my handbag, and stuffed the rest in my bra. That, with 2 big suitcases, were all I had. I could hardly lift them. New York, when I got there, was freezing cold, and there was black ice on the streets. Coming out of the bus terminal, I slipped and fell. Hit my head. When I came to, I was in Bellevue Hospital.
A lucky thing you had those suitcases. I can recall Dr. Chandler telling me about you and saying if they hadn't broken your fall, you'd probably have broken your neck or ended up with a really serious skull fracture.
Oh, not to know where I was, where I came from, my name, nothing. Somebody had stolen my pocketbook with every piece of identification I had. I don't think I'd have ever remembered anything if Dr. Chandler hadn't tracked things down for me.
But he did.
Not only that, he got me the job and training here at Physicians Hospital as a nurse's aide. And when he died, he left me enough money to go through secretarial school. In every way, he gave me a chance at life.
Yes. Amnesia is a frightening condition, but it didn't take you long to get your name back.
Well, it was 2 months. I know that Dr. Chandler gave me an identity and a name. But was it the right one?
What?
Was he just so sorry for me that he made up a name and a background and got people to call me from Lincoln and to write letters just so I could be called somebody named Susan Ainsley?
But that's who you are.
it's who I thought I was 2 days ago. Now I'm not so sure. I'm here today to find out if it's possible that I might be someone else. Someone called Helen Roberts.
Surprised? Or as is usual with good listeners, were you already ahead in this story as it unfolds, and at least half suspected this might be the case? Well, it will be up to the lady herself to tell you that when we return shortly with Act 3.
Who knows how to help you solve your shopping problems? Your Better Business Bureau knows.
I saw this perfectly darling mirror in the showroom, so I bought it. But when the truck came, they delivered this thing I never saw before. Now what am I going to do?
I'll tell you what to do, madam.
But who are you?
I'm the man from the Better Business Bureau. Now, the first thing to do is to call the store manager and tell him what happened. But in the future, when your merchandise is delivered, you should examine the item before the delivery truck leaves. And if it's to be delivered from a warehouse, have a clear understanding with the dealer that unless it is the same as the sample shown to you, you will not accept it or pay for it.
Oh, thank you.
Just part of my job, madam, to help people with their shopping problems.
On the corner, Church's Kitchen's making golden fried chicken. Right before your eyes, always crisp, deep fried. The way chicken should be fried. Golden crisp flavor, fresh in every bite. Drop by Church's fried chicken kitchen. The golden taste of Church's comes ringing through.
Chicken was made to be deep fried, so crispy it crunches when you bite into it. Well, that's what Church's does. Deep fries your chicken right before your eyes till it's golden brown and golden crispy crunchy on the outside, moist and tender on the inside. Makes your mouth water just thinking about it. So what are you waiting for? Drop by Church's on your way home and pick up a box of the Crispy Lovers chicken. Your family will love you, and so will we.
Drop by Church's fried chicken kitchen. The golden taste of Church's comes ringing through. The golden taste of Church's.
Confusing story, isn't it? With all its twists and turns. But then, that's the fault of the young lady who's telling it. Because if anything has ever exposed you in your life to sheer and sustained panic, even the threat of its returning is enough to make the strongest understand the ostrich and feel like hiding your head in the sand. Susan, or Helen, or whichever she is, seems made of stouter stuff.
I went on naturally to explain about Dan and who Helen Roberts was, while the nurse came with the folder. Dr. Vane listened without interruption. When I finished, he sat back.
All right, Susan. Well, that's who you are. Now it's my turn. Amnesia is not a disease. It's a symptom, a byproduct of physical or psychological shock. In your case, a good solid bang on the noggin. Now, what on earth would make you think you might be getting it again? Just because you and Helen Roberts worked as nurses' aides at physicians about the same time?
No, not so much that.
I should hope not. Because you were in children's ward, and she must have been in orthopedics. And you know the buildings are 5 or 6 blocks apart in this huge complex.
It wasn't that so much. It was the date.
The date?
April 14th, 1968, the day Helen left Dan. That was the day I met Carl.
Your husband?
Yes.
Well, I sense you're still uncertain about your identity. There are plenty of other ways to clear up, you know.
I know. I just wanted to take the shortest cut.
This man you met, this Dan Roberts, he rather swept you off your feet, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm afraid he did.
Then if you won't trust me, See your gynecologist.
What?
You and Carl never had any children, did you?
I never had a child.
Then how could you possibly be Helen Roberts, who had two?
I was out of all the dark caves and the twisting caverns and into the sunlight. And the first thing I did when I got home was ring Dan.
Hello?
Dan?
Yes, who's this?
The problem lady.
Susan.
Is that offer of a date still open?
Just name the time.
All right, tomorrow. Friday night. Where do we go?
I'll pick you up at your office after work, and, we'll drive up into the country and have dinner.
Oh, it's a heavenly evening, Dan. I haven't danced in years. I was so clumsy.
Oh, that was me. I haven't danced in even longer, but it was good. I'll take every bunion and blister happily and come right back for more.
Oh, you couldn't have stepped on my feet. I was floating. What are we stopping for?
We're home. That is, you're home.
Oh, shucks. Well, I'd invite you in for a nightcap, but I haven't anything.
Madam, you have everything in the world. But I tell you what I'll do. I'll make a bargain. I know you're tired. I'll let you go right to bed if you promise me tomorrow.
All right. What time?
All the time. I meant all the tomorrows. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, etc., ad infinitum. I love you. I love you, and I want us together.
Oh, Dan.
Kiss me.
Oh, Dan.
Oh, Helen.
Helen. Helen, you mean after all my long explanations this evening, you still think I'm Helen?
No, wait a minute. That just slipped out. I don't know what I think. It's just that you look so like...
No, Dan, no. That tears it. Don't you see it wouldn't ever work for us? No matter who you accept me as, you'd always be seeing Helen in me. And I won't. I can't be a substitute wife and lover. Goodbye.
Helen, I mean, Susan, wait.
Okay, buddy, just stay in the car.
Now, get out of my way. Who do you think you are?
There's the shield, Mr. Detective Sergeant Benton, New York Police. You heard the lady. Goodbye. Final. Now get in the car and drive.
Oh, I know you meant well, Ed, but why did you have to butt in?
The way it looks, you're better off without this guy.
You could be right about that, but I'd like to mind my own business.
This isn't any business for you. I'm telling you, I got this straight from the Sandport police. They ain't closed the file on this guy Roberts. The way his wife disappeared and all. Okay, so she took a powder. That happens. But why doesn't she show up anywhere else? Huh? How come she never even comes back for the clothes and jewelry she left behind?
Wait a minute, Ed. Are you trying to suggest that Helen is dead?
He could have done away with her.
Dan? Oh, don't be silly, Ed. But if she isn't alive anymore... Oh, if I just knew that. Maybe there'd be a chance for both of us. I'd made up my mind before I got rid of Ed. The picture of Mrs. Freiberg was suddenly fresh in my mind, looking at me as though she'd seen a ghost. And I knew I had to talk to her. I took the 9 o'clock train to Sandport the next morning, looked her up in the book, and took a taxi to her house.
It's the craziest, mixed-up thing I ever listened to. But I believe you, Susan Hollis.
Well, with a birth certificate, driver's license, Social Security card...
Oh, forget those, honey. They could be faked. I'll tell you why I believe you. I thought about it that day after I bumped into you this week. You couldn't have been Helen. Not in a million bunch of Sundays. Not the way you look.
But I've seen a picture of her. We're practically doubles.
You saw a picture of her the way she was before she ran out on Dan. But the way she was the last time I saw her. Nobody could come back from that to looking like you.
Oh, when was the last time you saw her? Where?
Oh, year and a half ago, 2 years ago. I went with some friends to an off-Broadway theater. There was a block right around the corner that's Frosty Row. You know, the men come down and pick them up by car or taxi. Helen was one of them. Oh, what a mess she was. She pretended not to know me. Said her name was Crystal White. Ah, I remember that name because it was such a stupid alias. And, oh, my dear, the way she looked. She was on drugs. I could tell.
Oh, why did she run away from Dan, Mrs. Freiberg?
Oh, the bored, the jaded suburban wife. Oh, this kind of routine was never for someone like Helen. You could have pushed a meat skewer through her ears and hit nothing. Nothing in her head but bells.
And Dan married someone like that?
I'll give Helen her due. She tried. Even the kids. But she just couldn't cut it. Dan being away so much didn't help. She started in with marijuana. I could smell it sometimes when I went over there. Then when Dan came home, I suppose she graduated to the hard stuff. Easier to cover up. Oh, and that damned Ernie.
Ernie?
Oh, he used to drive the delivery truck for High Hill markets. Everybody takes from them around here. He was a pest. Tried to make all the housewives, and with that set of muscles and that wavy hair, I'll bet his score wasn't bad. I'm sure he was also peddling drugs. I know he was Helen's supply. Just as I know it was him she took off with that day. Oh, that poor, silly jerk. Oh.
Does Dan know about this?
Are you kidding? Everybody in this town loved Dan Roberts. Anybody who knew the truth about Helen, and there weren't many that did, they knew they'd get plenty from me if they let it out. You'd be surprised the goods that Lillian Freiberg has on folks in this town. I deal in real estate.
But just to let Dan think she'd walked out on him and the children...
The best thing that ever happened to him. And the best way to leave it.
Well, it was a sad, long ride in from Sandport. It didn't help to find Ed waiting for me in his car outside my house.
Susan, I've been waiting for you over an hour and a half. Where have you been?
It doesn't matter, Ed. I don't want to see anybody.
That's where you're wrong. You and me are taking a ride. Hop in.
I just had one. I don't want another.
You want this one. You don't know it, but it's Christmas. You listen to Santa, Ed, and I'll explain while we're on the way. Doors open. Get in.
All right.
First off, clean bill of health on your boy, Dan Roberts. He checks out A-OK. Owe him and you an apology.
Are you taking me to Dan?
No, he's on his way down where we're going in his own car. I broke the whole story to him. Now I gotta break it to you.
I could have saved myself the trip to Sandport. Ed and his boys, with the help of the Sandport police, had checked out that whole story. Only they'd taken it a giant step further, to a halfway house in Brooklyn, where we were headed for now.
I had all her things out on the desk already, you see, for the other gentleman, her husband.
Mrs. Whittle, this is the young lady I told you about.
Oh, yes. Oh, just let me change my glasses. These are for reading, and the others are... Oh, my, yes, you do. Just like her. Before, you know.
Before?
Before she got hooked on those awful drugs. They come here only at the end, really. Oh, I can't get over it. The sergeant only showed me your picture, and you didn't look like more than, well, sisters. But seeing you in person and comparing it to this picture, regular twins.
Oh, Ed, why did you bring me here? What difference does it make?
I just thought, Susie, that you ought to know your rival is gone for good and all. Now, if he's what you want, you don't have to play second fiddle anymore. Where's Mr. Roberts?
He went over to the grave. He said to ask the lady if she'd join him there. You know where it is, Sergeant.
Yeah. I'll show her where.
I came, Dan. Mrs. Whittle said you wanted me to.
I put some flowers on the grave. It looks so bare.
Oh, Dan, what can I say?
Thank God.
What?
You can say thank God for both of us. No, I'll change that. For all of us. Poor Helen. No, it's a terrible gift, but the best she could have given us. Oh, Susan. There's only one name now, only one woman, and she's not Helen. I can offer you total belief now. Will you accept it?
Of course, Dan.
And me. You will marry me, won't you? There's nothing to stand between us now.
Well, there are 2 little girls in England.
Who can't wait for me to give them a mommy of their own. And I can't wait to write them to tell them I found the perfect one.
Because she's so like their own?
No, because she's just the opposite of their own. She's her own woman, which Helen never was. I want her to be my woman.
Oh, Dan. Oh, maybe we've both come home at last.
To stay, Susan. To stay.
A little like having been in a maze, isn't it? Twisting and turning, running into dead ends, the feeling of frustration, and a lurking, haunting feeling that maybe there is no way out, especially if the labyrinth is dark enough, as it was for Susan. And Dan, for them, for all of us, when we do find the way out at last, how much brighter the day is. I'll be back shortly.
Pardon me, miss. Can you tell me what happens this time of year?
Rhubarb reaches its peak.
Nope.
Muskmelon reaches its peak?
No.
Oh, does it in any way involve something reaching its peak?
No, not really.
Oh.
What happens this time of year is that you can get a really outstanding deal on Buick's small but surprisingly elegant Apollo. And with what's happening to prices, you may never have a better chance to buy a Buick, huh?
Hey, I know what happens.
Yeah?
The buzzards come back to Hinckley Ridge, Ohio.
Oh. I hadn't thought of that.
Once upon a time, there came to pass a new law, and great changes came over the people. They were happy and busied themselves at work they enjoyed. They were kind to the earth, and it gave back to them. No one had to lock doors or put fences around their land. Everyone had enough to eat. The sick and the aged were cared for. The people stood proud and tall.
In the land of make-believe, there were no poor. The Campaign for Human Development is working to make the same thing happen in our real world.
Campaign for Human Development, United States Catholic Conference.
Susan Hollis is now Susan Roberts, and they do live in suburbia again. As a matter of fact, Lillian Freiberg found them the house at a steal. Living in the city would have been very expensive anyway, because there are 3 children now. Susan brought him something even more than a new marriage and a new life. A brand new son. Our cast included Kim Hunter, Larry Haynes, Joan Shea, and Sam Gray. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. Now, a preview of our next tale.
Go back 21 years?
Yes.
I'm afraid.
Afraid? Afraid to be young again? Afraid to have another chance, another lifetime?
How would a thing like this work?
You agree to go back for the express purpose of rectifying an unfortunate action that you committed under stress. You are given an opportunity to do it.
And then, do I come back here to the present?
That's difficult to say. You're going back there. Here won't happen for another 21 years. So, where here is going to be will depend on the new life you'd make for yourself.
Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division and Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, Brewers of Budweiser. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until...
Hey guys, I just wanted to say thank you so much for tuning in tonight as I'm trying to do some of this artwork. I appreciate you guys being here and dealing with me not being on the microphone. My voice has been a little bit weird. My throat's been bothering me a bit, and so I figured, well, I'll do the no mic thing and see what you guys think of doing the little stories here. so far, I think it's kind of cool. But yeah, we'll get back to the stories here in just a second. Anyways, I just wanted to say thank you guys for being here. I love you all, and I hope that you're having a good evening here. So it is kind of relaxing, isn't it? Yeah. A little weird, but I do think it's a little relaxing. So. So I'm about to play this this ad thing. This is hilarious. I ran across this and I so loved this thing. It's like from the 20s, I think, and it's kind of wild to think that this is how advertising used to go. And I don't know, it's kind of weird. It's weird, but it's funny. I love it. Anyways, here you guys go.
It's double or nothing, so get on the track. Try Campbell's pork and beans, and you'll get double your money back if they're not the finest beans. So buy 'em and try 'em and do it today. Double your money back if you don't save. For flavor and zest, the beans that are best at Campbell's pork and beans.
That's right. Double or Nothing will offer every listener double your money back. Here's the offer. Try Campbell's pork and beans. If you don't agree they're the best pork and beans you ever tasted, just write your name and address and the price you paid on the back of the label, mail it to Campbell Soup Company, Camden, New Jersey, and we'll refund double the purchase price. Okay, O'Keefe?
Okay, Crosby. So it's double your money back and nothing to lose. And right now we're heading into the heaviest bean-eating season of the year, from April to July. And we'll help grocers sell more Campbell's pork and beans in their stores
season
with a real double or nothing offer. Double your money back.
Hello, Walter. What's that double talk?
Maxine, Laverne, and Patty Andrews. Girls, I have a problem.
Now you have 4 problems.
Patty, my problem is to tell everybody about the tie-in between Double or Nothing and the big new double your money back offer on Campbell's pork and beans.
Well, I always say when in doubt, sing. How is this? Buy me a biscuit pork. Buy me a biscuit beans. Buy me a biscuit Campbell's pork and beans. Such wonderful pork, such wonderful beans, such wonderful Campbell's pork and beans. Any other problems, Walter?
Well, grocers have been doing a grand job selling Campbell's pork and beans. And we want to tell them the double your money back offer holds good on the big family size can as well as the regular size can.
Well, here's a slogan for 'em. Get wise to the family size, like this. I was sitting eating pork and beans when I met a handsome man of means. Now we think you realize why she buys the family size of Campbell's pork and beans.
Patty, I want to give double emphasis to Double or Nothing's double your money back offer.
Well, you wrote a song that tells the whole story. Oh, Campbell's has pork and Campbell's has beans.
You mix them together, you've got pork and beans.
All over the world, both oldsters and teens
are mad about their pork and beans. Now a gal that I knew she was handsome, and she loved pork and beans, if you please. When she heard about Campbell's, she upped and got wed to the man in the flying trapeze.
Now he flips through the air, loops a loop and careens since his grocer supplied Campbell's good pork and beans. At last they've discovered what ecstasy means, 'cause they've got Campbell's good pork and beans.
Did we mention the double your money back offer?
Well, didn't we? Well, let's do it again.
Let's do it the way you're going to do it every day for our Double or Nothing listeners.
It's double or nothing, so get on the track. Try Campbell's pork and beans, and you'll get double your money back if they're not the finest beans. So buy 'em and try 'em and do it today. Double your money back if you don't save. For flavor and zest, the beans that are best at Campbell's pork and beans. Okay, O'Keefe?
Okay, Andrews Sisters, and okay, grocers. When you offer customers double their money back and nothing to lose, how can you lose?
Palmolive Brushless and Palmolive Lather Shaving Cream present Inner Sanctum Mysteries, starring Mary Astor. Welcome, friends of the Inner Sanctum. This is your host, Raymond, inviting you to come in through the squeaking door and catch your breath. Now, don't be embarrassed. Many of my guests here are out of breath. But they won't tell on you. I assure you they won't breathe a word of it. You see, they were warm, too, when they came in, but they've cooled off now. You see, I've kept them on ice. Now, if some of them seem a bit unfriendly to you, don't mind. They can't help being stiff.
Tonight's Inner Sanctum story, The Silent Hands, is an original radio drama by Robert Sloan and Robert Tallman and stars Mary Astor in the role of Nina Kohler. Miss Astor is soon to appear in one of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer's 20-year anniversary pictures, Meet Me in St. Louis. Tonight's Inner Sanctum drama is directed by Hyman Brown. Men, Inner Sanctum Mysteries ask you to shave with Palmolive Brushless or Palmolive Lather Shaving Cream. Either Palmolive Brushless or Palmolive Lather Shaving Cream gives you a clean, comfortable shave every time, free from razor burn, or mail the carton top to us, and we'll refund your money.
When a murderer sneaks up behind you and you haven't a rear view mirror handy, the best thing to do is listen carefully and try to hear the sound of the silent hands. High up on the bluff, overlooking a West Coast harbor, police cars feel their way through the fog on their night patrol. They're on the lookout for a mysterious woman in white who has already strangled 3 men and pushed their bodies over the cliff.
Attention all police cars. Attention all police cars. Woman in white evening dress reported walking with middle-aged man in Overlook Park. Investigate right away. Investigate right away.
Michael,
Yes, Nina.
it's getting chilly.
Oh?
Finish your cigarette, will you? Let's go in.
Of course, Nina. Here, take my coat in the meantime. Put it over your shoulders.
Thank you.
What? Trembling? What's the matter?
Nothing, just nerves, that's all. Michael,
What, dear?
my bag, it's gone.
Well, you sure you had it with you?
Oh, yes, positive.
Oh, well, it must be around here somewhere. Go on ahead, Nina. I'll find it for you.
No, Oh, all right. But be careful of the cliff.
Now, don't you worry, dear. Go on ahead. I'll catch up with you in a moment.
Don't be long, Michael. Don't be long.
I won't. Always losing a bag. I'm always finding it for her. There it is. This is... Oh! Let go of me. Let go of my neck. Your throat. No. Cliff! Don't push me over.
Don't you ever go home, Barnes?
Not when there's a story to get out.
Uh-huh.
I'll be finished in a minute, McGraw, and then we can leave.
Okay.
Oh. Hello, Barnes speaking.
Mr. Barnes,
Yeah?
if you want a good story for your paper, get into a cab and drive to Overlook Park right away. The 4th victim of the woman in white has been found.
What? Tell me that again, please. I didn't catch the address. Quick, McGraw. Get on another phone and trace this call. I'll stall as long as I can.
Oh, okay.
Did you say that was Overlook Park, madam? Hello? Hello? Never mind, McGraw. She rang off.
Well, who was it?
Some dame trying to give me a tip on a murder. She said the woman in white had taken care of another victim.
The woman in white?
Yeah. We'd better get over to Overlook Park right away. There may be a story.
Well, wait a minute, Barnes.
What's the matter? You scared?
Well, sure I am. You don't know who that was. It might be a trap.
Come on.
Look, don't be a fool, Barnes. You might be the next victim. You gotta call a cop.
And tip off every other newspaper in town? Come on, McGraw. Every second counts. That dame was right. Look down there on the rock.
What is it?
A man's body. A man without a coat.
We better get the police.
Yeah, we'll phone the story in, and then we'll... Hey, wait a minute. Look at this.
Barnes, don't touch
I
anything.
won't. Just want to see if... Yeah. The same, all right.
What's the same?
This metal ring on the ground, and a piece of silk next to it. That's what they found before in every one of these murders.
What do you suppose it means?
I don't know. The cops say it's like an East Indian trick, practiced by highway thieves. A precious stone or coins left on the road. When a traveler stoops over to pick it up, wham! A silk noose is slipped over the neck, and in a few seconds, it's all over.
Barnes.
Yeah?
Somebody watching us.
What?
Over there, behind that hedge. Something moving. Something white.
You got a gun?
No.
Neither have I. Come on, we better not fool around.
Which way do we go? Back to the car?
No. There's a house beyond those trees. Maybe we can get to a phone.
Okay, let's run for it.
Right.
What the devil's that?
Sounds like some kind of a tropical bird.
You mean here in the park?
This isn't the park, gentlemen. That tropical bird you hear is in the aviary next to the house. It's part of my private collection.
You live in that house?
Yes, with my sister. These are our grounds, gentlemen, and you're trespassing.
Well, lady...
We're looking for a telephone, madam. We're from the Chronicle.
I don't care where you're from. You'll have to leave immediately.
But someone's been killed.
You'll have to leave immediately. My sister is ill. She can't have any excitement.
Nina!
Go back into the house, Carolyn.
Nina! I've been looking for you. Where have you been?
You know very well I've been out here feeding the birds. Why do you ask?
Because I didn't see you. I thought perhaps you went back to the place where...
Carolyn! You'll catch cold out here. We'd better go back in the house.
But who are these men, Nina?
Reporters, dear.
We'd like to use your telephone, miss, if there's one in the house.
Why, of course. Come along. I'll take you to it.
Thank you.
If you men are reporters, I suppose you want to phone your paper about...
About what?
Nina, you're hurting.
I'm sorry, dear. If I held your arm too tightly, I didn't want you to stumble.
You're lying. You don't want me to talk.
That's not true, Carolyn. You can say anything you please. Go ahead. Say anything you please.
Oh, Nina. Please forgive me. I didn't mean what I said before. I'm just upset because you've left me alone so much tonight.
But I haven't left you alone, dear. I've been in the house with you all evening. Don't you remember?
Oh, yes, of course. You've been with me all evening. In the house.
Carolyn, I think you're strong enough now to take these gentlemen inside and show them to the phone. I'm going to stay out here for a while and speak to the birds.
Yes, Nina. This way, please.
Now go along, McGraw. I'll be with you in a minute.
Okay, I'll put the call through.
Are you staying behind just to watch me?
In a way, yes.
You're a fool.
Well, maybe I am. But these birds you've collected fascinate me. Especially the gaily colored ones which were brought over from the Orient.
Oh, are you a fancier?
In a manner of speaking. At least I know that the creature with the yellow bill and the green eyes is a very rare species. I had to write a story about it once.
Indeed.
Yes. It's found only in certain parts of India.
What if it is?
You've been to India, haven't you?
Never.
You're lying.
I'm not accustomed to being spoken to like this.
But you are accustomed to lying. Only that alibi about not being out of the house tonight won't stand up.
Won't it?
No. That dress you're wearing is torn. And the piece that's missing from it is in my pocket. I found it out there on the cliff, near a metal ring and a bit of silk.
Now you're lying.
I have the evidence right here in my hand.
Give it to me.
Not so fast. Let go of my hand. Let go.
Open it. Open it. Or I'll dig my nails into you.
Wait a minute. Wait. I'll open it. There.
I knew you were lying. There's nothing in it.
Oh, of course not. But I found out what I wanted to know. For a woman, your hands are abnormally strong.
So now it's your turn to watch me and follow me around, huh, Mr. McGraw?
Oh, not necessarily.
Your friend must think I intend to run off before the police arrive. But he's wrong. I have nothing to fear from the police.
Of course not.
Don't stand there and grin at me. I'm cold and miserable. If you had any manners, you'd take off your coat and offer it to me before I freeze to death.
You can have my coat.
Here, thank you.
Wait a minute. Where are you going?
Back to the house. There's a police car there now.
Well, good. I'll go back with you.
Just a moment.
What's the matter?
My watch. I've lost my watch somewhere along the path.
Who are you kidding? I just saw you throw it over in the grass. Here it is, right over here. What's it doing? Where'd she go to? Where'd she... Oh! My thumb! No! Stop! On! You're pushing me up! Good! Sorry to see McGraw go like that. He was such a nice boy. But, you know, it's his own fault in a way. He never should have tried that jump without a parachute. He may hurt himself someday, like the fellow who, when shaving, gives himself a good case of razor burn. Men, when you torture your face with razor burn, don't just blame your razor blade. Instead, try Palmolive Brushless. That smooth, easy to spread, won't clog your razor shave cream. You see, Palmolive Brushless literally lubricates your skin, so your razor just glides along without tugging, scratching, or scraping. Yes, mister, even the toughest beards lie down and wilt when you use Palmolive Brushless. And your face is cool, comfortable, not drawn or dry. So why don't you quit bothering with a shaving brush and try Palmolive Brushless? You buy Palmolive Brushless in the big money-saving Victory jar, and we'll guarantee you a clean, comfortable shave every time. And we know you'll sing goodbye forever to painful razor burn. Let's get back to Nina and that beautiful Indian rope trick. After that double-header killing, Nina was picked up by the police and put in jail on suspicion of murder. But the case against her was still pretty slim, and when Barnes went down to his cell to get her story for his paper. You seem very confident for a woman who has so little time left to live.
You're meddling, Mr. Barnes. Something that doesn't concern you.
No, it does concern me. McGraw was a good friend of mine.
I'm warning you not to interfere, Mr. Barnes. You'll regret it if you do.
You'll regret it more. I have everything to gain and nothing to lose.
Nothing but your life.
Yeah, what about yours?
They'll never convict me.
Don't be so sure.
I'm innocent. They can't even keep me here another 24 hours.
So your lawyers are going to spring you, huh?
I have influential friends, Mr. Barnes. And when I'm free, I want to be left alone. You understand?
You don't frighten me, Miss Kohler. I'll get the goods on you if it's the last thing I ever do.
If you try, it will be the last thing you ever do.
Miss Kohler, your sister's here.
Oh, thank you.
Nina, you're free. You're free, darling.
Yes, I know. George told me he was getting out a writ. You see, Mr. Barnes, I have influential people.
Well, they won't always be able to help you.
No? Come along, Carolyn. I have so much to tell you.
Yes, dear. Mr. Barnes, you've got to help me.
What?
It's a matter of life and death. Come to the house tonight at 10 o'clock. I'll be feeding the birds in the aviary.
Right.
Carolyn, what are you doing?
I'm coming, Nina. I'm coming.
Miss Kohler. Miss Kohler.
Oh, Mr. Barnes, thank heaven you're here. I was afraid you wouldn't come.
Well, you said it was a matter of life and death.
It is. It is. My sister's been lying to the police, and she's made me lie for her, too.
What do you mean?
Well, that night you were here, that night Michael was killed, she told you she was in the house with me all evening, but she wasn't. She was out with him, walking through the park.
Why didn't you tell the police?
I couldn't. I was afraid of what she might do to me. You don't know her, Mr. Barnes. She'd kill me if she thought I was telling you this. But I've got to tell somebody. I've just got to.
Now, wait a minute, kid. Get hold of yourself. There. The night this fellow Michael was killed, your sister made you say that she was home with you all evening.
Yes, that's right.
Did she tell you why she wanted you to lie for her?
Yes. I don't believe her. She said she had nothing to do with Michael's death, but there was no way of proving her innocence. She was afraid that police might convict her on circumstantial evidence if I didn't give her an alibi.
I see. One more question, Miss Kohler. You've been to India, haven't you?
Yes, we lived there a number of years.
I thought so. When I saw that bird with the yellow bill and the green... Well, by the way, where is that bird? I don't see it.
It's gone. The cage is empty.
Your sister must have taken it away.
I had to, Mr.
Huh?
Barnes. He was dead.
Oh, Nina.
Why are you so frightened, Carolyn? Have you been talking out of school?
Oh, no.
What have you told him?
Nothing. I haven't said a word.
You're lying. Go into the house, Carolyn.
Just a moment.
Are you meddling again, Mr. Barnes?
I'm more than meddling. I'm going to protect the state's key witness in its case against you.
So you have told him?
Yes, I told him everything. I don't care what you do to me. I don't care.
Be quiet. Be quiet, I say.
How long do you think you can keep this up, Miss Kohler? Aren't 5 cold-blooded murders enough for you?
You're a fool, Barnes.
Phone the police, Carolyn. Hurry. I'll keep her here until they arrive.
Carolyn, don't you dare.
Phone the police, I tell you. She'll kill you if you don't.
Yes, I'll call them.
Carolyn, come back here.
The dig's just about up, Miss Kohler.
You think you're clever, don't you?
Not especially. But I know who committed those murders.
You don't. You're wrong, Mr. Barnes. I can prove that you're wrong.
You're wasting your breath.
But I'm innocent, I tell you. And I can prove it if you give me half a chance.
What chance did you give McGraw?
I wasn't anywhere near McGraw when he was killed. And Michael was my best friend.
Yeah, tell that to the cops.
Give me a break, Mr. Barnes. I'll admit I was with Michael that night he was killed, but I didn't do it. I couldn't have done it.
You couldn't have done it.
No. I'll show you why if you let me go back to the place where it happened.
What do you think I am?
I think you're a gentleman, Mr. Barnes. And I know you want to find out who murdered your friend. But you never will find out if they convict me. You'll never find the real murderer. Won't you believe me? Won't you give me this one last chance?
I don't know.
Please, let me prove that you're wrong.
Okay. Where do you want to go?
Back to the edge of the cliff. Michael and I were standing just about here, Mr. Barnes.
Yes, go on.
We were talking about the mysterious murders that had taken place on these bluffs overlooking the harbor. We were joking about the fact that I was a woman dressed in white.
You're in white again tonight, Miss Kohler.
Yes, it's my favorite color.
I see.
We stood here for a while, and then the cold air chilled me, so I asked Michael for his coat. May I have your coat, please, Mr. Barnes?
What's the idea?
I want to show you what happened.
Well, do you have to be that graphic?
Yes, it's important. The details are terribly important.
All right, you can have my coat. But I'm warning you, Miss Kohler. I know the game. Slipping a silk noose over a man's neck is done more easily when his coat's off. That's why all the victims were found in their shirt sleeves.
But Michael was the only one I knew. I couldn't possibly have had a motive for killing the others. They're complete strangers to me.
That's not much of a defense. Psychopathic murderers often kill without a motive. They do it for the thrill it gives them, whether they know their victims or not. All right, continue with your story, Miss Kohler.
Well, after I put on Michael's coat, I started toward the house.
Yes?
And then I missed my bag.
Yes?
I guess I left it near the edge in this, over there somewhere beside that rock. Good heavens.
What's the matter?
Isn't that another bag over there?
Where?
Beside the rock. Get it, Mr. Barnes, and bring it here.
What?
Bring it here.
Oh, no, you bring it here.
Oh, all right. If you're that frightened of me, I will. just an ordinary bag. I don't know why you were afraid of picking it up. Nothing could have... Oh, my neck! I knew you couldn't resist another victim, Mr. Barnes. But you forgot about my strong hands and this coat I borrowed from you. You should have known better than to try that trick while I still had it on.
There are other ways of committing murder, Miss Kohler.
And I'm sure a psychopathic killer like yourself knows most of them.
Yes, I do.
Stay where you are.
You're smarter than I thought, Miss Kohler. I never dreamed that you'd plant a gun in that bag.
That was the chief's idea. You underrated our police force, Barnes. We've suspected you for some time. We couldn't get the goods on you till tonight.
We?
Yes. Didn't you know there were women detectives? My sister and I have been leading you on ever since you killed Michael.
And all the time I was figuring I could pin the rap on you.
That Barnes boy gave me the willies. And that, of course, leads to the gimmies. Well, look here. Here's Flat Top with the wanties.
I want lots of lather. I want lots of lather.
Okay, you men who use a brush when you shave, you want lots of lather. And you'll get lots of lather simply by using Palmolive Lather Shaving Cream. For an honest whisker wilter, millions of men prefer it. In fact, more men use Palmolive than any other lather shaving cream. Here's why. First, Palmolive Lather Shaving Cream gives lots and lots of lather. He-Man lather with millions of moist bubbles to blitz your beard. Second, Palmolive Lather lubricates your razor, speeds your shave, and leaves your skin smooth, cool, comfortable. So, if you're a lather and brush user and want to avoid razor burn, get Palmolive Lather for a smooth, easy shave that you'll whistle your way through. Get Palmolive Lather Shaving Cream, knowing it's going to leave your skin smooth, your face clean and comfortable, or your money back.
Well, it's time to fold up the ghosts now, those little folds, and put them back in the closet with the family skeleton, which is something. But remember, the next time you're out in the park on a foggy night, keep your shirt on. And keep your coat on, too. Although silent hands are liable to give you a pain in the neck. By the way, this month's Inner Sanctum Mystery is Said the Spider to the Fly by Richard Shattuck. Well, if there's no more business to scare up, I guess I'll turn on the darkness. Thanks. So, until next week, when Palmolive Brushless and Palmolive Lather Shaving Creams bring you another Inner Sanctum Mystery. Good night. Pleasant dreams.
What is the 14-day Palmolive plan? Yes, what is the 14-day Palmolive plan?
It's the biggest beauty news in years. Doctors tested this plan, proved it brought lovelier complexions to 2 out of 3 of all the women tested. Here it is.
Wash your face with Palmolive soap. Then massage for a full 60 seconds with Palmolive's lovely soft lather. Then rinse. Do this 3 times a day.
Easy to do, yet 36 doctors prove this Palmolive plan brings a lovelier complexion to 2 out of 3 women. No matter what type of skin you have, dry or oily, the 14-day Palmolive plan works. So get Palmolive. See what Palmolive can do for your skin in only 14 days.
The 14-day Palmolive plan, indeed. Sounds very suspect.
My complexion's so bad, I hate to go out. Don't be a square. Try Ting, the faster way to clear up pimples.
Yes, doctors' half-face tests prove Ting medicated cream dries up pimples more effectively than any other product tested. Here's why. Boys and girls have overactive oil glands. Excess oil clogs pores, causes pimples. But Ting blots up oil faster, more completely than other products. In lab tests, Ting completely absorbed oil in 15 minutes. Hours later, other products still had not. No, hiding pimples won't help heal them. No mere cover-up can work like Ting's antiseptic medication. Remember, doctors' half-face tests prove Ting better in every case, better than any other remedy tested. Applied at bedtime, greaseless, stainless Ting dries to oil-absorbing powder that clings all night, even helps heal acne-type blemishes. Don't let externally caused pimples spoil your fun. Get Ting Medicated Cream, T-I-N-G. See thrilling improvement overnight or money back.
So then we get the Ting, the Ting pimple plan. Alrighty. Well, listen, folks. I think that I'll go ahead and duck out here tonight. I'm kind of getting some drop frames, anyways. So I'm gonna go ahead and see what's going on with my system for the next time that we do this. I don't know. We'll see what goes on with it. I think I need to kind of adjust things on my Photoshop a little bit because it did an update recently. This is the first time that I've streamed since it did the update, and I think that it's kind of having a couple of issues, so I'm going to have to go through and sort of optimize it for while I'm streaming. But anyways, I hope that you guys had a good time tonight. Depending on what happens, I might be back on later on this evening. I don't know. We'll see. If so, hopefully you guys will show back up. And if not, well, that's okay. I hope that you guys still had a very good time this evening. This has been a fun one. I've enjoyed just kind of kicking back and relaxing a bit while the stories played. And I'm sorry I didn't really get much as far as a completed painting goes. But I have not painted in a couple of weeks. And so I kind of expected that I might not get anything done tonight. I sort of need to get back into the flow of it, if that makes sense. So anyways, I love you guys. I hope that you guys have a really good night and a really good upcoming week. Be safe tomorrow if you do go to work and all that kind of good stuff. And until next time, keep safe out there. Have fun. And, well, we'll talk to you again very, very soon.
Incoming custom.